Here's a question that has divided witches for generations. Is it wrong to cast a curse? For some, it's an immediate yes, while for others, it depends entirely on the situation, yet they both claim to have the high moral road. All at the same time, other witches proudly claim the title and identify as a white witch. But what does that mean? What is a white witch? Does it have anything to do with ethics or tradition? Tonight, we are stepping into the controversial area between blessings and cursings and everything in the mix. Oh my goodness, that TV is so loud. I feel so bad for the background. Sorry, guys. Tonight, we are going to ask one of the most uncomfortable questions in witchcraft. Is cursing wrong? Welcome back to Live from the Cauldron. I am your host, the Cauldron Witch, aka Kevin.
And I am your other host, the Crescent Moon, aka April.
What's going on, girl? Welcome back.
Thank you. Thank you. How are you?
I'm great. I'm gonna go turn down that TV real fast though, if you don't mind,
All right.
because
I
that's
don't mind a
loud.
bit.
All right.
I don't mind a bit.
Yeah, you need to
Mm.
turn that down.
For those that are gonna be watching us, went to the serial killer museum in Myrtle Beach. Got me a little coffee cup. Cute, cute. I
I
would
love
recommend
that.
everybody visiting.
I love that coffee cup. My coworker, it's funny because my coworker just went, and then you just go, and I'm like, I need to get there,
It's so nice, and they're adding so much more stuff to it. It's gonna be great.
and we're gonna drive right past it, and I can't go.
Mhm.
It's gonna be so
Unfortunately.
nice.
So
But no, I can't wait because we're driving past it to go to Savannah. So
yeah,
I'm excited. I'm excited.
yeah. We gotta maybe if we get back and we have time before your flight Monday, we can go.
Maybe okay. That sounds like a little plan. That sounds like a little plan.
Yeah.
Maybe we'll see what's in the works.
Hmm.
But so I'm excited for tonight's chat.
I am too, because it's something that it's like everybody and nobody wants to talk about because
Right.
it's like such an opinionated topic.
Right. A lot of people got a lot of opinions on it, and it can get
Yeah.
real messy real fast.
Yeah. And not that we want to ruffle feathers, but I think both sides need to be talked about. That
Mm.
way people can come from an informed place of information.
Yeah, to have an understanding of what they're even stepping into.
Yeah, and we're not the end all be all. Everybody obviously has to do their own research. I'm just
Absolutely.
saying, like, we're gonna give you some.
100%. We're going to help you out just a little bit with our education and our perspectives and our personal experience on the whole matter. Because at some point, when you begin practicing witchcraft and discovering that you're a witch, at some point you're going to run into this wall, and
Mm,
it's best to have some type of understanding when you do hit that wall.
I think it also plays a factor in whether you actually step into that world at all. Like if you're coming from certain moral standings and codes and ethics, like that might actually prevent you, depending on your belief system,
And
for
tradition.
quite a while. Yeah,
Yeah.
and your tradition.
Hmm.
So,
So
where do you want to start?
I want to get right into just throwing out a little bit of definitions real quick.
Go for it.
Okay. So, for example, like, what is baneful magic? What is baneful witchcraft? The word baneful in itself literally means harmful, destructive, to cause injury, to cause mayhem. So, it's definitely not, a blessing. Okay.
Definitely
It's
not.
something that, it is something that is meant to cause harm. Okay. Well, something like referring to like the white witch, that's something, and we'll get into this a little later more with origins and stuff, but the white witch meaning has multiple facets of meanings, but generically the main one that comes up to people's forefront and brain is just the witch that chooses not to work with any type of harmful magics. They tend to stay in what they call the light. So, hence the
Mm.
name A White Witch. But we'll get into all of that. So, I just wanted to throw that out there to define what a White Witch may be, while what is baneful magic, and exactly what are we talking about here.
Mhm, mhm.
So, so I'm gonna start off real quick to you and ask you what does baneful magic mean
I
in
mean,
your practice?
honestly, okay, taking the definition and then putting that into what I consider my practice or what is my practice. is it's basically like a self-defense mechanism.
Mhm.
Like, I am not going to go out of my way just to hurt somebody. You know what I mean? No matter how mad I get at somebody in the world, and I say that from a standpoint of I have not had the reason yet to be openly mean to someone for no reason, no cause.
Right.
I mean, you would have to do something to me or somebody I deeply care about for me to retaliate in any kind of way. And even then, I'm going to think about it. I'm going to be like, well, is this called for, or should like normal mundane procedures intercede?
Right.
You know what I mean?
Yeah.
So for me, baneful magic is not a not an automatic go to, but it's also not off the table. You know what I mean? Like, it really just depends. It
Right.
depends because to
Okay.
me, it's a defense thing. What about you? I already
Um,
know these answers, but go ahead.
I mean, to me, baneful magic is something that is needed, in my opinion, as much as the good magics, if you want to
Hmm.
call it. You know what I mean? To me, baneful magic, even though the definition is to harm and to bring destructive, that doesn't always mean it's bad or evil. Sometimes it's a necessity.
That's a
Sometimes
good
you need a
clarifier.
storm.
Yes.
Yeah. Sometimes you need a storm to blow through to get rid of, what's no longer serving. You know what I mean? So
Fire is just as destructive as anything, but it's also very cleansing,
it is.
just
Well,
like
after
water.
a forest fire, it's the earth has been purified and cleansed and renewed, and new life and growth will come from all that. So, I
Right.
mean, destruction, in my opinion, alone isn't always a bad thing. Change is nothing to be fearful of. It's something you want to be a part of. So that's just my
Hmm.
opinion.
Well,
But
no, and in that respect, I will agree with you. But again, it all boils down to like what's going on. Like, what's the
yeah, it's
context?
all to me. I definitely lean on the side of it. Definitely depends on the situation at hand. I don't think
Hmm.
I don't think. Yeah, because a lot of people, for example, will heal a rando. You know what I mean? And what I mean by that is, God forbid, a witch comes across an injury or an incident where they need like emergency magics for whatever reason while waiting for paramedics or whatever the case. So to me, I feel like it's a little bit more okay to throw out a healing spell than it is to throw out a curse. I definitely think there's more energy and more accountability that comes into that types of magics. But again, we'll
Hmm.
we'll dive into that within this discussion.
Yeah.
Um, so my question for you, because we now you hear the terms white magic and black magic.
Hmm.
Okay. Do you think those are good, useful distinctions?
God, don't ask me a loaded question or nothing.
Yeah, yeah,
Um,
yeah, yeah. No, we're getting heavy, locked and
I
loaded,
mean,
because I got some things I want to touch on, especially with those terms.
I don't. I hate. I okay. I don't. Okay. I don't like. I understand in the beginning when you're learning that things are color coded in such a way, good, bad, in the middle.
Right.
Um, but like, I, I honestly don't think, for me, in my little humble opinion, white magic is realistic to a point.
Hmm.
That's just me, and I could be, maybe because I've never claimed to be that, I've never tried to be that. I try to kind of stay, sort of in the dark gray, darker part. I don't know.
She's like, I
I,
try to stay balanced, not really,
well,
but
we both know how I feel about blessings, so just that
my
alone would
my
tell
magic
you,
is the beautiful color of this kitty.
right? Like, we
No,
would be defined as very, very much into the black, but
no.
I do feel there's a time and a place for everything, and I also believe that there is a spot for everybody. So, like, if you are more into light work and the the lighter side of magic, to where you're more about blessings and,
You
gosh,
bloods them up and out, huh?
yeah. See, that's what I'm saying. Like, I have such a hard time because even my blessings are curses.
Yeah,
So,
yeah, they are.
like, I just I don't know. I
Uh,
cannot answer
no,
that without being kind of snarky and saying, well, I mean, if you want to stay on the fluffy side, that's fine. It's just not what we do, or it's not
yeah,
what I do. But
mhm.
like at the same time, I also see, a white witch is very comforting. People, they're more prone for, a lot
What?
of
My
people go.
bones and skulls and poisons aren't comforting? I'm confused here.
Well, I'm just saying the
Drink a
aesthetic,
little of that
some,
Magic Valerian combo. Trust me, you feel real comfortable.
yeah, dead. Anyway,
Yeah, I'm pretending, guys. That's not
that's,
real. You'll
yeah,
die.
that's
Don't
not
do that.
real.
Don't do that.
Um, I mean, it's real, but
I
you
mean,
can't
it
do
can
it.
be, but don't do it. It's
Yeah,
poisonous. Don't do it.
don't do it. I don't know. I understand there's a place for a white witch, quote unquote, for people that can't tread on the other side. Can't
Yeah.
or won't, whatever.
Yeah.
I get it. It's just it gives me grandmotherly vibes because like you go for
We
healing and
had
you go
different
for
grandmothers.
blessings.
No,
No,
I'm kidding.
you're not with mhm. I'm
Right.
just
Yeah.
saying
No. My
the
grandmother
aesthetic.
actually. Yeah. No, my grandmother actually identified herself as a white witch, and I'll explain a little bit about that because that goes into all the different definitions of a white witch, which I do want to get into. But I want to explain and express for me, I'm not a fan of the terms white magic, like black magic,
Hmm.
mainly because to me, and we'll get into this when I ask our little question over here, but I don't, to me, because it question when you use those terms, you come up with the question, what is then black magic? What would technically be qualified as that? And if my protection spell does harm on you because you're trying to do harm on me, I'm not gonna call that dark magic, baby. I don't, you know what I mean? Or black magic for that reasoning. So but another reason that a lot of witches don't like those terms is because of the racial connotations that come with the terms black magic and white magic and stuff like that. Because
Look,
when
go
what?
ahead. None. So tired of this damn argument. Go ahead.
Well, when the white European folk decided to come up to America, they decided that they wanted to denounce, especially even dehumanize a lot of the cultures that are already there, like
Mm-hmm.
the hold on. I got the phonics over here because I can
The
never say this word
are you trying?
correctly.
Are you trying to say indigenous?
Yes, indigenous. I can never say that word correctly. I have too much of a lisp for that word. However, so and African religions, along with shamanistic and folk practices, they
Mm-hmm.
wanted to dehumanize and denounce those practices because not only did was it not what they were doing, it was not what the controlled religion, which was Christianity at the time, believing
Mm-hmm.
in, and they needed to eradicate all of those practices and beliefs, and literally, even with some people, take control of them. You know what I
Mm-hmm.
mean? Which is why a lot of those practices were labeled and demonized as black magic because it was against anyone that wasn't the white man.
Mm-hmm.
So a lot of racial connotations are associated and affiliated with that. However, I will say that's looking in more recent history, while more older history, looking in Europe back then, before they even came to America, they did use the terms white magic and black magic to what's that word?
Differentiate.
Thank you.
Differentiate.
I love your superpower. No, so between a beneficial worker or a malefic witch,
Yeah.
and the white witch the term itself became very prominent during the Victorian era and was used for those who use their magic specifically for blessings and healings, and even in the rise of neo-paganism and Wicca, they still use that term.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
But yeah, that's just my
Any
opinion.
well, no, and I get it. I'm just this is 2026, bro. Everybody is from a mixed bag of tricks. Like me and you. Well, I know for me, I have West African, and then I have the Scot, and then I have the Norwegian, and then I got the this and then that. Like
Oh
when
yeah,
color
no,
enters the building, I get so frustrated.
No, 100%. I agree with you because, especially America today, we are literally a melting pot. You cannot find
I
one
mean,
American that is,
seriously.
you know what I mean? That
You
is not a
find me a
bunch of
pure blood of
Archean.
somebody.
Right. Good luck with that.
Right.
So I love how my mother thought she was pure blooded Italian until I did that DNA test. And I said, really? Because there's a lot of Asian up in here, Miss Only
Acco-
Italian.
According to this paper,
Right. Right.
based on
So,
your, yeah,
and
no, no.
that's where I will say the terms have a lot of um bad
Connotations and
connotations, and
stuff.
it has a really bad aura around it. Whether or not you adhere to that, because I know a lot of witches do not adhere to that, because again, before looking at the racial connotations, they were used specifically to describe what was good and what was evil. Just so
Hmm.
happened that during the rise of social hierarchies along with color associations, when white man came into America, yes, they wanted to make everything that wasn't them evil. So
Yeah.
it depends on how you want to look at the history and what you're looking at. However, there's a lot that has a lot to do with why a lot of witches stay away from those words, and why, like for myself, instead of saying I practice quote unquote black magic or dark magic, is because I say baneful magics. You know what I mean?
Hmm.
And
Or just
also,
magic.
well, and that is where I'm going to ask you here. Do you think that that magic can truly be divided into white, black, gray, whatever the fuck?
I believe, and skewer me if you want to, I believe if you limit yourself to a certain category within your magical practice, then you're doing yourself a disservice.
I like that.
And your flock, your coven, whatever, whatever.
I like that.
Because you thank you. I I just feel like you I mean, and again, I come from a place of I don't do the label thing.
Mm-hmm.
So I I feel like it would be limiting
Mm-hmm.
to yourself and whomever you're whatever you do if you only stay in this one little area,
I agree with you.
because it's like being a Boy Scout or a Girl Scout or a Brownie or whatever. You need to be able to know how to do multiple stuff to sometimes get something accomplished.
Right. I agree with you. I believe in the sense that, well, first off, I don't think magic can be divided into a certain thing, because magic itself is not good or evil. A hammer is not good or evil. A gun is not good or evil,
The
you know.
wielder.
Exactly. You know what I mean? And it's all about moral and ethics, and
Hmm.
again, and we'll get into that. We'll just get into that. But it's about moral and
I can't.
ethics.
I don't know your questions because you went off the
I did.
you
No, yeah,
handwritten some stuff.
because
So I'm answering off the hip here because I don't
yeah,
know what
no,
I'm.
yeah. I know what I'm saying. So anyway, but I know because I keep saying, because there's a lot that I wrote down, because I was like, nah, let me, because I know us and how we communicate and what we'll
Hmm.
bring up, and trust me, yeah, yeah. So no, I don't think that that's a thing. I do believe, I'm also a firm believer in the old saying, it's better to know everything about demonology than anything about angels, which I love that saying, but I also, anytime I say it, I like to bring up not all angels are good, not all demons are bad, but
Exactly.
it brings up the point of, it's good. It's if you're afraid of a certain type of magic, it's good to study that magic and know how to wield it. God forbid it's
Right.
wielded against you. And if it's wielded
Exactly.
against you and you don't know what to do, you're gonna get pummeled and you're gonna get beat, and it's not gonna be good. So you need to
Right.
be spiritually prepared. That's my opinion. I also think magic itself is the pure essence of nature's energy, and nature, as beautiful and loving and comforting and nurturing as it is, it's destructive, hell on earth, destroying, destructive, killing people, like, you know what I mean, like, it
Mhm.
wields in
Mhm.
both aspects. So no, I don't think it can be truly divided, and I agree with you in the sense of, if you as a witch only want to practice a certain type of magics, I do think that, there is limitations, and whether it's good or not, that's up for you to decide. Because I know some people that would think not practicing baneful work is a strength. Now, personally,
Mm,
I don't adhere
mm,
to that. You know what I mean?
mm.
But, so there's a difference between your strengths and your limits and all of that. And that's up for the individual witch to decide, in my opinion. Because there's certain magics that we wouldn't practice, which, again, there's a question that we'll get into that.
Okay.
So,
I I feel like everybody, you know what? It's all fun and games until somebody you love gets hurt or threatened.
yep, 100%. And that's where, again, nature, you step on a snake, you're going to
Mhm.
get bit.
Mhm.
So that's just me. I will also like to bring up the fact that the White Witch, also as much as it was used during the 18th and 19th century, before that, that term really wasn't used. What was used was to describe a good witch, if you will. The terms that were used were cunning folk, the wise men and wise women, healers, shamans,
Mhm.
charmers, and herbalists.
Mhm.
Those who didn't practice only good magic were labeled as a witch. They were labeled
Mhm.
as or a witch or a Malfic witch, a witch that practices Malfic witchcraft, and evil wrongdoings. So
Mhm.
they would also be titled as labeled as enchanters or enchantresses or sorceresses. um, so yeah, so White Witch going really back in time wasn't really used like that because the good witches, quote unquote, wouldn't identify with the term witch. The
Right.
witch was used to describe someone using harmful magics.
And I will just interject, and like I said, I don't know what you've written, what your questions are, so this
Nah,
might
you're good.
be down further.
You're so good.
But like, there's a time and a place for everybody. So if there is somebody that just deals and doling out dark shit to people,
Hmm.
sh- I'm 100% she stays in business. You know what I'm saying? Just like there's oh shut up. Just like there's a white witch out there, quote unquote, that 100% stays in business
Business,
because people
100%.
go for her cleanses and
Hmm.
rituals and Reiki
The
work and
past.
energy work and stuff. Like there is a place for everybody in the craft, and
Yes.
that's what I really want to convey,
That,
good, bad, or
yeah.
otherwise.
I love that you did say that because with that being said and how we practice again in our personal spirit practices and our personal craft does not emphasize what others should do or how they should go about it. And just as much as there's a place for balanced witches who work both in light and darkness, there's a place for the witches. It's up to you. You know what I mean? And if
Mm-hmm.
that's right
Mm-hmm.
for you, then rock on that 100%. Stand on that
I
10 toes down 100%. And
yeah,
be
like
truly you, unapologetically you. Because for some witches, it is only good magics. And for some witches, it is only the darker stuff. And if
mm-hmm.
they can handle all that, by all means, keep doing you. You know what I mean?
Yeah. And honestly, we all know someone that does something that we're not comfortable with, that they're comfortable with, and how to get a hold of them.
Exactly.
Like,
So,
I am not the best. at- I mean, as much as I make a lot of people comfortable and I can do a lot of things in a soft manner,
mhm,
that's not my forte. It's not my forte. It's not my comfort zone. So I will probably point you somewhere else if it's something that either I'm inexperienced with or I'm uncomfortable with, or I'm just not damn good at. And I
yeah,
think every witch needs to know who they are and what their strengths and weaknesses are, because that's how
100%.
your practice is going to go.
You have to be true
Don't
to
ever,
yourself. Know
exactly, because
thyself.
otherwise, right. Like you can't be out here going, oh, I can do this and I can do that. It's good that you have confidence, but like be honest.
Right.
Be honest with the people you're interacting with and yourself.
Right.
Because
Don't have that.
look,
You don't let that ego step in the way. And one of the
right.
base principles in being a witch is to know thyself. You know what I mean?
Mm-hmm.
Through and through, in the good and in the bad, in the light and in the dark. And that's something I want to bring up before we move on. Is that do you think there's a difference between dark magic and baneful magic?
Mm. Yeah, because not all dark magic's bad, and not all baneful stuff is just out of spite.
Hmm.
So yeah, I do believe there's a damn difference. Sorry, I don't mean to cuss.
Oh, cuss. What fucking show are we on? I'm
I
sorry.
don't fucking know. I
What?
try. I've been at work all day, so I've been in a restricted
No, no, yeah,
vocabulary.
you can let it all flow out. Let the juices flow. No, because and that's where I mean for me and in my practice now, when I adhere to baneful magics, that's when I'm going to brain harm,
Mhm.
that's when, for whatever reasons it may be, usually 100% always justified. I never, because of the responsibility and the, I've seen the
Mhm.
actions when wielded when you shouldn't be wielding it. So yeah, no. But to me, then you look at dark magic, and that's to me, and this could be the argument of all magics again, balance of polarities, but dark magic to me is working literally in the darker realms, working with the actual darkness, because everything came from nothing. Creation was born
Mhm.
out of darkness, you know what I mean? So
Mhm.
if you can pull into that darkness and grab whatever you want, like the magician pulling that black rabbit or the white rabbit. I prefer a black rabbit though. That's why I say that. I like my black animals, you know.
I mean,
Um
I think that's a good clarifier also because some
yeah.
people can't get past dark means bad.
Yeah, and
And
working like necromancy would to me would
mm,
be dark magic because you're
that's
working in
dark.
the
Yeah.
dark, the shadows, stuff like that.
The underrealm.
Right. That doesn't, again, necromancy doesn't mean I could be calling on necromancy for a blessing. That dark
Mhm.
magic is used for good things. But right. So that's what I wanted to express out there about a little bit of a distinction between dark magic and harmful magic.
Mhm.
So now I want to touch on the White Witch's perspective, if you will, and talk
Mm.
about not only what the White Witch is for certain people, but also their beliefs. Now, and the reason I say the different definitions for the White Witch is because for some people, the White Witch, like I said, means that I only practice good magic and I would never harm or wield any type of dark or whatever.
See, that's where that's where I have a problem.
Hmm.
That's where the kink in the chain is for me. And it's not that they're refused to, it's the fact that uh, okay, and this is just it might be my crazy little brain, okay? If you're going to a white wish or a white wish, a
A White
white
Witch.
witch that only does like love and light and blessings and blah blah blah.
Mhm.
There's all okay. Everything has energy, right? That energy touches everything, cast it upon it. So your blessing to someone could be a car wreck for somebody else. You see what I'm saying? Like you
Mhm.
never know exactly how something is gonna
Well, that
manifest
yeah,
itself. So like it just because you wish good upon the world doesn't mean it might take a volcano. You know what I mean? Erupting
right,
to do the
right,
thing that you're. You know what I mean? You
right.
never know
And
that
well, we'll
cause and
get into
effect.
that right after. I'll also explain that because that's just for some witches, though, like that
Yeah,
adhere to
that's
that
yeah.
type of definition. Because my grandmother, she identified herself as a white witch, but she identified and adhered to the definition that it was a witch under the name of God.
Oh, like a Christian witch or no?
Exactly. Yes,
Yes.
exactly.
Okay.
She was more Catholic, and she wasn't into Santeria, though my godfather, who my grandmother's not my actual grandmother for those who need to know. She
It's
is
like
my
your aunt's not
godfather.
your aunt's, just a friend of the
Exactly.
family in
She
there,
is my
know?
godfather's mother, and she was an actual, like, she played a grandmother role in my life, which is why,
Hmm.
she's my grandmother. But her son, aka my godfather, he liked to think that she was into Santeria, and I know for a fact she was not. But
Hmm.
she was a Catholic witch, and to her, the white witch meant a witch under the name of God. Now,
Okay.
if you were to ask her, do you perform harmful magic? She would probably tell you absolutely not. How dare you even think something like that?
I
Don't
know
you
where
ever do
this.
that?
I know where this
However,
is going.
I feel like if you were to piss her off, she would do something in the name of God. Like that
Yeah.
still stands down.
Strike
But,
you.
right, but because it's in the name of God, it's not bad magic, so we good.
Right.
We
Right.
still gonna
Right.
get that motherfucker. So
See, and that's where that color system throws me fucking for a loop because it's like, okay,
hmm
cursing behind the shades, okay,
right,
you
right,
know, you can't be in the
right.
conventional booth throwing curses. You know what I mean? Like, it don't work that way, baby.
Miss, I don't like
But
reality TV bringing up the conventional reference.
what are you talking about? That was from a book.
I- See, on reality TV, they
Right.
have the confessional booth. They have the confessional stands where, like,
Oh, I haven't
yeah.
seen that since
Oh
like
no.
Real World in the 90s.
Yeah, okay. All right. Back to case in point.
My
So yeah,
bad.
so Maya Abuela, she again, that's the definition that she would adhere to. So and that's I
Mhm.
know a definition a lot of other witches adhere to. So I do want
Mhm.
to also emphasize that just because one might label themselves a white witch does not mean that they are adhering to the fact that they don't cast harmful magics, especially if there's justice behind it,
Mhm.
especially depending on that
Mhm.
situation and depending on I guess the Lord's name in the in the craft. I guess I don't know.
It's so
So
wild the differences between witches and right,
and
wrong, and
witches.
different.
I
Yeah,
mean, witches and
witches.
witches because
It's
she
it's
was also
wild.
the type of witch that like I love her, and she is gone now. And in death, she might have a broader perspective, but in life, there was no other deity other than the one deity. And you could be a witch, but if you're a pagan witch, that's not okay. You have to be a witch under God in the Catholic religion. So
But okay, let's not get into a
let's not get
religious
into that
debate.
because that
Never
that that's
mind.
that's that that gets into the religious
That's
debate.
another episode later
Right.
on. All right.
Right. But so that's where I want to explain, the little different meanings behind the White Witch.
Mhm.
And also their belief in the fact that, like, okay, how you were explaining before, not all blessings will be a blessing for everybody. And now that's
Mhm.
where some would consider the harm none rule. And a lot of magic spells and in a lot of magic texts you will read in, especially in modern day books and a lot
Yeah.
of a lot of Wicca texts, you're gonna see and read the phrase in a spell, and harm none, do what thou will, or by the power of three, harm to none, so mote it be.
Mhm.
And that
Mhm.
in a sense, I like the ideology behind it because that does bring accountability to the table about how your magics are going to manifest. Because,
Mhm.
for
Mhm.
example, you do what is a good spell for your friend to, get that job he wanted or to get that car he wanted. And then, the guy gets fired, he gets the job, and the guy ends up
Mhm.
becoming homeless. Or he gets the car from someone who died. Because, you know what I mean? Like, so a
Mhm.
lot of people think in that respect where even when you're casting good magics, the way it comes about, the way it manifests, because there's one thing about magic that if people don't already know, magic will take the least path of resistance to manifest in the physical realm.
Mhm.
So that doesn't, and again, magic being nature, that don't always mean it's gonna come nice and fluffy.
Right.
So sometimes it's gonna do some not so okay things that you would be okay with to manifest. So a lot of witches, whether they call themselves a white witch or not, will in general put in that little harm none factor, whether they say it, visualize it, intend it, whatever the case is, however they do it. But a lot of witches will put that into their practice, so no one gets harmed as the manifestation takes hold.
Mhm.
What do
I
you think?
just I feel like it's unrealistic.
Explain.
Just because it does take the path of least resistance. I mean, inevitably, it's like cause and effect. In order for one thing to be there, another thing must move, you know?
Hmm.
So I just feel like I'm not saying it happens all the time. I'm not trying to say that. I'm not trying to, you know, mislead or whatever, but it's just impossible to know
Hmm.
how something, the route something will
Gonna
take
take
to
hold.
accomplish the goal. Yeah.
Right.
Like, I mean, it could be the most harmless spell, doesn't mean nothing bad will come of it to someone else. You might come out aces.
Hmm.
You might have also left a path of destruction by accident.
A
You
path
know
of
what I
spades.
mean? Right.
Hmm.
So I just feel like it's great. I wish I could have the mindset of like everything's going to come up daisies or whatever that
Right.
saying is,
Yeah, yeah, yeah,
but
yeah.
my brain would not allow me to think that way and to be naive to that point.
I
You
think
know,
it's just
I just am too
I think it's
jaded,
not
I
only
guess.
experience, but again, education and the fact that yes, again, magic will take the path of least resistance coming into this world. That's for you as the witch, as the wielder of that magic, to need to be accountable for your actions and be responsible for how that magic is nurtured and brought about into this world. And that's
Yeah.
where, for me, I'm very like. I try to always intend on, like, it's depending on the spell, obviously.
Mm,
But if I'm working good magics, I'm not trying to bring harm about it in any fashion, or have this bring come to me through harmful means.
mhm,
And that's where, there's that little, again, for me as a witch, I can't be one way or another, or really both. I'm very balanced because magic is, and that for me, that's where I'll tend to reach more in that direction of the lighter side, where I am responsible and take accountability for my actions. Would I
mhm.
necessarily call that actual light magics? No, I just think that's just all magics. That's just,
It's
again,
magic.
responsibility and accountability on how it's going
Yeah.
to manifest. Now, a lot of also witches believe in the threefold law and karmic debt, and what you send out comes back to you. So don't ever send out curses or evil, or won't you give me a little light on that?
As much as I don't want to believe in it, I do. I've seen it happen too many times where I'll do something, but okay, let me bring in before I finish saying that. Let me bring in. This is also part of the self.
Hmm.
So, like, if you mentally think that way, that is exactly what's going to happen to you. Okay. So, like, you have to put yourself into the situation in a very literal sense. If that is your mindset, that will be your outcome.
Hmm.
And we know my mindset all the time is, ugh, you know? So, like, I get instant karma almost all the time if I do something, either I don't think it through, I act out of impulse, or I am what am I trying to say? And nobody ever can help me with my goddamn words. Uh
Impulsive.
no, it's kind of like impulsive, but if I'm reactive,
Okay, reactive. Yeah.
yeah, if so I like have to think my shit through,
Hmm.
because I am not the person that will sit around and 10 years later some big shit will happen and fuck me up. No, if I do something dumb, you best believe I'm gonna get hit in the face
Hmm.
immediately. Something stupid's gonna, and I'm gonna be like, shit, and I'm gonna immediately clock it and be like, okay, what did I learn from that? You know what I mean? I'll do better next time. I'll do this next time. I write my little notes down on the outcomes of this, that, and the third. I don't. It's not more like the threefold law. I don't really. Karma. Yeah,
Hmm.
I,
Hmm.
I try not to, but I do it to myself all the damn time. But again, that's my mindset sometimes.
So for me, let me take a little sippy sip real quick. Delicious. Okay. Now, for me, I believe in the threefold law in the sense, in the respect that when you send out energy, when you send out magic into the astral realm, that shit is amplified.
Mm,
There's a lot of magics and spiritual meaning behind the number three. So I understand,
mm-hmm.
for some witches it's threefold, for others it's tenfold, 13-fold.
Mm-hmm.
That number
Yeah.
is up for the individual to figure out on their own. Sevenfold, whatever the fuck. Um, but I do believe that, in the respect where you send out energy, it is amplified, and what you will send out, you'll get back. With that being said, that also includes justice, in my opinion.
Mm.
Um, Now let me ask you this: how would you advise someone, or how would you advise yourself to protect yourself against those type of consequences? Like when you say you throw something out and then you get slapped back, if you're doing something for justice sake, and something that, again, you I guess, in a sense, shouldn't be getting slapped back for, how would you protect yourself against that?
I'd have to think on that one. Because
Okay.
normally, if I get, it's because I was. Let me say this.
So, okay, go ahead.
In my spell work, I've only think that's happened to me like once or twice. But in reality, like if I'm mean to Alan, just being mean because I'm in a bad
Oh,
mood,
right.
I get slapped back. Not literally. That's not literal.
Yeah,
That's
no,
I will
no.
trip over his shoe
Right,
and fucking
right.
bust my ass, and that's karma getting me. That's what I'm
Right.
talking about.
Okay.
In spell
So in
work,
that sense, okay, in that sense, you also getting mad unjustly. You know what I
yeah,
mean?
yeah, yeah,
So
yeah.
you can't protect yourself from that. I will say, in the
No,
sense
but in
of,
spell work, that's different.
now with spell work, now, because a lot of people, and I will say this, looking at those who love the baneful works like we do,
Mm-hmm.
a lot of witches like to shield themselves under the justified reason. Okay, and now
Yeah.
I will be the first one to admit, as justified as you are, again, what you send out does come back to you. And in order for a curse to work, you need to raise hell like energy. You need to raise some nasty, fucked baneful, harmful energy for a curse to work. And when you send that out, all that is great. But like attracts like. And all that
Hmm.
energy, if you do nothing with it, if you do not cleanse yourself, if you do not protect yourself, if you do not spiritually take care of yourself, that energy, because you casted a curse. Now, yes, you are covered in that energy as much as your curse is, and your curse is sent out, but you're still covered in that energy. You need to do something about it before it comes back at you. And that's where a lot of practitioners get fucked up and think, but I was in the right, but I was justified, blah, blah, blah.
Ah, you know what? As an Aries, I can say I can justify anything to myself. It don't
Yeah,
mean
yeah.
it's really
As an
justified.
Aries, I understand because I got like four of you bitches in my life. Y'all can come up with a justified reason for slaughtering someone's animal.
I
Okay?
yeah, yeah. Oh, she looked at me wrong. Not today, baby.
Right.
No,
It
just
is crazy. You Aries. You
yeah, we
Aries.
justify everything. Like we can cut like and it's quick
Y'all
too.
need a
That's that
y'all need a chill
impulsive
pill.
shit.
Y'all need a chill pill.
No, people need to stop fucking with us. That's what that is. But like in the magical realm, those that like you have to again this realism, this realistic, the actual world view of okay, this is real life. Just because you're mad doesn't mean you're justified. Just because
Yeah.
somebody said something to your homegirl that she didn't like, okay, well, did she deserve it though? Because you
Right.
clapping back with a curse, not always
That's
justified.
also another thing. Because again, even if you're justified because of that whole energy thing, like attracts like, you don't take care of yourself, you're still going to get that slap back, justified or not. But that is
Mm-hmm.
another point where if you're not justified, or if you design a spell that was, if the punishment was worse than the crime, you know what I mean? Because
And we're real good at that.
stop it.
Ooh,
Stop
we.
it. No, no, no. Because if okay, for example, if someone stole from you, okay, and
Mm-hmm.
you
Mm-hmm.
immediately try to kill them and their entire, like, the rest of their bloodline, that's a little extreme.
That's
That's
just
a
true.
little extreme. If someone is lying to you and you're instantly trying to like throw them under a bus literally or get them thrown off a cliff, that's
That's
a little
extreme.
extreme. That's a little extreme. So, punishment got to match up to the crime. You
Mm-hmm.
don't want to get a death sentence for stealing bread. You know what I mean?
Right.
So, if you do that, then that's where that unbalanced energy, because it's all about the scales of balance, right? And could the keeping the, because I believe I adhere to the fact that witches are the keeper of the scales of karma, which is why we perform blessings and curses,
Mm-hmm.
and if we give out too strong of a curse to someone, that unbalanced energy has to go somewhere and it will just circle back and come to you.
It's like a
Along with the
boomerang.
fact of, exactly, along with the fact that if you're completely unjustified, there's no greater shield than innocence.
Mm-hmm.
However, there is enough power to break through that. And if you're lucky enough to do that, congratulations, you're a powerful witch. Now watch out, because that magic's coming for you too.
Yeah. I think you should be shielded in any work you do. That's just my personal opinion. But if you're about to attack someone, defense or just malice, whatever it is, you should
Mhm.
be shielded with
Yeah.
everything in your arsenal, just about really,
Yep.
because it will inevitably.
And it's okay if you're not afraid of other people's magic, but be afraid of your own.
Yeah. Oh man. I I I think we all, and maybe not, maybe my conception or perception is wrong. But I feel like everybody feels like, oh, well, they can't touch me. My magic
Mhm.
is blah, 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 blah. Everybody has that ego in their practice, I feel like. And the reality of the situation is that's just not true.
Not
That's
at
just
all.
not true.
Not at all.
Whether they're stronger or your defenses are weaker, either way, like there's always going to be someone better. You know what I mean? And we need to probably keep that in check when we're doing shit. That way we don't get our panties in a twist when shit falls back on us.
Hmm. I
Didn't mean
agree.
to rant. That came out of
No, no, no,
nowhere.
no.
Sorry.
That was completely valid and completely part. Like it was on point. So,
All
so
right.
just more to the point. Be careful again, because when you work that stuff, justice is not a fucking shield. It is not.
Mm-mm.
It's not a poncho. Okay. So, all right,
And I
moving
don't know if
on.
anybody's ever worn a plastic poncho. The things suck.
They do. Moving on. Um, now, okay, so talk to me about the actual baneful workings. Like, what
Mm.
what actually qualifies under that category for you in your practice? Because I know a lot of people would consider bindings, baneful. Certain curses to be baneful, protections to be baneful. You know what I mean?
Okay. Well, if
Especially
I'm throwing a
designs to
curse, it's
reversal
supposed to.
magic's baneful.
Well, see, I don't agree with that one. I don't
Mhm.
agree with the other one you just said too. That's already left my brain. But
Right.
like,
The
we
protections
just.
that are
Yeah,
designed
yeah, yeah,
to get
yeah.
back at you.
Yeah. No, it's supposed to be like a rubber wall. Like,
Yeah. Yeah,
boom.
yeah, yeah.
You know, it either absorbs and dissipates, or it bounces right back.
Going back to the OG, I'm rubber, you're glue.
Uh huh.
Hmm.
Sticks and
Whatever
stones,
you say
baby.
bounce off me and sticks to you.
Yep. I love
So
those little things.
I know those that
Um,
was for children. I love it.
like Baneful Magic is legit. Like I'm cursing you and your bloodline. I'm taking your dog out. Like Baneful Magic to me is like I'm aiming to destroy. Like I'm not playing nice. Like if I have to go to that route, I and we collaborate a lot. If we go there, there was a reason.
Mhm.
Either somebody got hurt, killed, whatever,
Yep.
whatever.
Hmm.
Like we have never done that unjustifiably, as in we have collected all of our information,
Hmm.
both sides of the story, the whereabouts, the witnesses. Like I feel like if I'm doing so, it's to hurt you one way
Right.
or
It's
the other.
it's an actual curse or jinx,
Yeah,
whether it's
yeah.
minor or not.
Oh, a
At this
jinx.
point,
Oh, is that considered bad?
you're sending because okay, a curse is to bring harm. A jinx, in my opinion, is to bring like unlucky situations to someone. It's nothing to cause actual damage. It's something to
Right.
like what I mean. So, but it's still, in my
Why you cut me
opinion,
off in traffic, bitch?
no, 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 no.
I'm
Put
just
your
joking.
witch hands down. Oh my god, someone got to arrest you. The witch popo. Whoop. No, no, but
What's that? Aries hot headed in traffic. That's why I got
exactly.
to keep my hands on 10 and 2.
Exactly. So no, but in the sense, like if I'm giving you nightmares for a week, I wouldn't call that a curse. That's a jinx. You know what I mean? Like, oh, got you, bitch. Exactly, if I gave you a
Oh,
flat
you're not
tire,
sleeping well? If you're
right?
not
Oh
sleeping
no,
well?
oh no. If I yeah,
Hmm.
if I give you a flat tire, if I give you a bad day at work, like
Yeah.
that's a jinx. If I'm bringing harm and destruction, that's a curse. That's that's a little stronger. But
Yeah.
both of those I category under the baneful workings. However,
Really? A jinx?
yeah, yeah. But with that said, that's my little like two things for the baneful workings. Because anything else outside of that, to me, baneful magics is very limited and very to the
I,
point. Because anything
yeah.
outside of that, to me, is not baneful. If you're doing a binding spell to restrict someone, that's not that. I don't give a
That's
fuck. I'm
defensive to
sorry. That's
me.
right.
Yeah.
There's defensive magics versus harmful magics, and sometimes defensive is harmful. But what you gonna do? You or them? You know what I
Right.
mean? If it has to
Yeah.
get to that point, because
The witchy witch world.
there's certain protections that are designed to attack the attacker either
Yeah.
immediately or at a certain point. You know what I
Yeah.
mean?
Yeah. And that's why you have to. It's just so much responsibility and mental overload to be a witch, especially like in our case when people come to us and say, hey, this is a situation, and we jump through 10 million hoops to get the whole fucking story because we're not one-sided witches.
Nope.
But like it's such a responsibility and an undertaking.
Hmm.
And and I hope that's how everybody practices, because if you're just like DMing somebody and like, hey, I'm mad at so and so for this, and somebody's going, okay, that'll be whatever the price is. Consider it done. Like I can't jive with that.
Yeah, I can't. Well, to me, in my opinion, I feel like those that also kind of shows either A, the reality behind their magics, or B, their morale behind their
Hmm.
magics.
Yeah,
Because to me,
but we,
if someone, because I got to get involved in the situation, and if I'm not involved off the rip, odds are I'm not doing something about it unless it's serious. You know what I mean?
yeah, like, mm,
So for people to get involved with complete strangers with absolutely no information, again, either that attests to your actual ability or that attests to your actual morality. And either way, I'm not fucking with it. Um,
you know what? I just thought of another episode we'd need to do.
write it down.
Babe, I need a pen.
Bitch, you got
It
me
don't.
fucked up.
I'm sorry.
Oh my god. All right. Anyway, so
Thank
calling to the
you.
husbands. Um,
Thank you.
All right, so now let me ask you a little something, something, because we already discussed how the darkness and death and working with death and necromancy isn't always harmful or destructive or in the sense bad. You know what I mean? Because you can harness on all those three things for healing and the greatest of types of magics. You know what I mean? But I want to ask you, what is the difference between the justice and the justified curse and the whim? And why maybe you shouldn't go off that whim.
Give me
Like
break that down a little.
where does the line draw from justice to just a whim?
Give me an example, because that one's it's not settling in my brain on how to answer.
Okay, versus someone breaking into your house and actually robbing you versus someone just stealing your lunch at work. I mean, it depends on how often they want to steal that lunch. Okay, hold on. Maybe I'm a petty bitch because maybe I'm a petty
I mean,
witch.
steal for me once. All right, you got it. Steal me
Yeah.
twice, you're gonna ride a toilet or go to the hospital.
Yeah, yeah,
Mm.
yeah.
You know,
Oh, that would be
not
such a
even.
good spell. Find out who's stealing your food at work and give them a diarrhea curse.
Yeah, a
Ooh.
diarrhea curse. Bitch, I'm putting laxatives in my food. What are you talking about? I don't even witchcraft free on that one. That's free advice. I'm here all day. Just saying. Just saying.
Okay, all right. But you know what I mean. Or
Mm,
I mean, again, everything depends on the situation, and is it a one-time occurrence or is it an actual nuisance? Because I was gonna say, a pesty neighbor, because I
mm,
know neighbors that are just annoying, and you just got, just steer clear, while other
mm.
neighbors are like, no, you gotta go.
Yeah. Um, Rephrase the question, because I'm not getting a win from a win.
Um,
Because like
okay.
both those, if you work it and one leaves you alone, the other one moves. That's a win. It's a win-win.
I mean, to you, so okay, all right. How about, someone cutting you off of traffic or someone
Mm,
bumping into you on the road and not saying, I'm sorry, or you open the door for someone and they don't say thank you, and you just want to be like, you know,
mm.
versus
See,
again, someone breaking into your house, robbing you, someone threatening you, you know.
well, I've been through that one, and
Yeah,
they're in jail.
yeah, yeah,
So,
yeah. So, but like to you, like, where does that line draw? Where is it
uh,
necessary for magic to be brought to the table versus just
honestly,
ignore
this
it?
the more extreme, obviously,
Yeah,
like the break-in. You know,
yeah,
if somebody would have stolen a figurine off my front yard, that wouldn't have denoted magic. That would have
yeah.
just been, all right, watch me put air tags on everything.
Right.
But
Like you clearly needed that no more than me.
right, I'm mad you said no. Don't be giving my shit away. Um, this house is full of gnomes. We got a
But
gnome addiction.
versus someone breaking in and
Oh, you're going down.
actually, yeah, no, yeah. So
You're going
you know,
down.
and I agree with you in that sense. Where to me, and this is where in life and in magic, don't sweat the little things,
Mm-hmm.
don't let all that shit just piss you off, when it comes to an actual serious wrongdoing. And I feel like you as a witch, we can sense it in the energy of the action.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? What was petty and useless versus what was actually wrong and injustice.
Look, my pettiness will stay mundane. I will be a petty Betty and get your ass right back. But if it comes to, say, in a situation where someone came into my house while we were
Yeah,
sleeping,
yeah. That's magic, baby.
yeah,
Right.
like,
It takes yeah,
because and it wasn't just me, it was five other people in this neighborhood.
and a
It
dog.
was, and the dog. Like, it was just, it was bad. So,
Yeah,
yeah, magics.
yeah.
But, like, if just you kick over my trash can, I hope you scrape your knee. Shut up. You know what I mean? Like,
Mm-hmm.
petty stuff
You're
equals
right.
petty stuff, you
Right.
know? Yeah.
Yeah, no,
I'm
I
not gonna
agree
go
with you.
crazy.
It takes something more extreme for me to actually bring magic to the table because magic also is very real, and if I want to actually see real consequence, then but by all means, I got plenty of access to seeing you have real consequences.
Yeah. Yeah.
So,
Like, I'm not
anyway,
gonna do that.
last thing I
Not
want to
unless,
bring up, minus the ending questions that I have written for us. But one of the last
mm,
things I want to bring up is the history that involves not only the good and beneficial magics, but the curses and in folk and ceremonial practices. The fact
mm,
that curses and healings are both branches of magic that has been practiced since the dawn of time, since
okay.
magic could have been practiced.
Mm-hmm. Is there a question
Anything.
in there?
Well, anything you want to bring up that comes to mind about like the history using curses?
I mean, no, because petty Betty's since the dawn of, look, Cain and Abel, they made it to four people before one of them got killed. That's all I'm saying. Like, petty Betty was born the minute the earth was.
Yep. Yep.
You know, people are just inherently like, everybody has the ability to be good and bad
Yeah.
on both extremes. And people say good can't be an extreme. The hell it can, the hell it can, the hell it can.
Mhm.
And we all know the extreme bad is murder, death, destruction.
Right.
Everybody's born with the ability to do both. So I feel like that's just been a lifelong endeavor. And the more the merrier. If you can get a group of people heading in the same direction with the same will of intention, then you're
Mhm.
going to accomplish that goal 10 times faster. You know
Mhm.
what I mean? And vice versa. Charles Manson, hello.
Hello.
Every cult in existence, hello. Like,
Um, and the fact that like curses have been used, like stuff that like adheres to looking at like the history behind curses is like like the famous curse tablets back in like Roman and Greek periods, the
oh yeah,
curses
I've heard
that were
about
written
those.
upon the pyramids in ancient Egypt, where if you were to break into a tomb and all these curses would befall on you. They're the folk practices for reversing the evil eye or preventing thieves or trying to attack or find and discover a thief. I don't know why thieves are like on my mind a lot tonight.
I mean, really? Seriously, calm down, killer.
Right.
I do want to touch on that evil eye thing since we're
Yeah.
talking about white, black, red, whatever. What's your opinion on the evil eye?
Be a little more specific.
I mean, is it harmful? Is it baneful? Is it a curse? It's definitely
See,
not a blessing.
it well, again, like magic depends on how it's wielded, but I think the evil eye can be baneful, and on looking at one side of the coin definitely is baneful because
Mm-hmm.
people
Mm-hmm.
that's one of the most easiest curses that humans themselves, but not even just witches, but humans themselves inflict on other people is by sending out the evil eye. However, my opinion is that in return, on the other flip side of the coin, it could be a protective agent. You know what I mean?
Mm-hmm. I've got
Families
my
and traditions
eye
and
on you.
practices has said to be protected by the evil eye. So I have evil eyes hung up in this house, outside of this house, that protect me from the evil eye and bounce back spiritual maledictions. You know what I mean? And nasty entities.
Mm-hmm.
So,
Mm-hmm.
so in my opinion, it's very dangerous, and again, something that is one of the most easiest curses that humans inflict on people without even trying, without even knowing. But I also think it's very powerful. It's very strong, and when used correctly, it can defend you against a lot of great evil.
That's something that's not talked about a lot at all,
And
hardly.
again, the evil eye has been used for since ancient times, and not only in Greek and Roman periods in the Mediterranean. Looking at ancient Egypt with the Eye of Horus, that was
Mm-hmm.
used utilized very similar in the same way. You know what I mean? So
Mm-hmm.
so that's kind of what I mean by a lot of ancient magics. There's a look looking at the magical Greek papyri, looking at the Bible. Okay, Jesus cursed a tree because it wouldn't produce a fig, okay, or some shit like that. And looking at the magical Greek and Roman papyri, there is curses in the motherfucker for everything under the sun. You want to give someone a nightmare for one day? Okay, how about 3 days, a week, a
Mm-hmm.
month, a year? Like, they got it all. They got curses for everything under the sun, for every little thing. They was talk about petty, okay? They was mad back then. And they inflicted, I'm talking like they was calling on names to do some like real dark shit. And they would
Mm-hmm.
conjure dark, like nah, like when I tell you curses, eh, again, it's been
Good
around for a
times.
long time. And
Well,
it's not
yeah,
because it's evil, but it's because, in my opinion, it's a necessity. Just as much as there is the good magics. Again, nature.
exactly.
And this
Yeah,
is
and
about survival.
yeah, and human nature. Petty Betty all day,
Yeah.
every day. Everybody wants somebody else got, but they don't want. You know what I mean? Like
Hmm?
people are just petty, and honestly, it. You know what? Do you just? All I can say, is be careful. I
Be
mean,
responsible.
right. I can be petty as hell.
Right. But you
Petty,
know
petty,
what
petty.
you but you know again the limit, and that where that line draws to where I'm gonna be petty versus I'm going to create and conjure real consequences.
Yeah, no, I'm gonna just be mad in my little head,
Right.
and then trip over a shoe and get mad when I fall. So
Right. So but yeah, all right. So a few questions I wanna end this little discussion on here for you.
let's go.
First off, one of the gooder, wow,
Gooder.
my English. One of the more better questions that I came up with and I loved honestly was is inaction more dangerous or more harmful than action?
Mm. I think it can be just as dangerous. I don't know if it's better or worse, whatever, but
Or gooder?
or gooder. Um, I feel like. Well, I guess it depends on why wouldn't you take the action? Is it because you don't have the means, or because you don't have the like? If you're just lazy, then you get what
Well,
you get.
some
But if
again looking at like certain white witches that prefer and don't touch baneful workings, they would if
oh
there was
no,
harm present.
I like the saying, and I think it's in the Satanic Bible is take no shit, do no harm, but take no shit.
Yeah.
Like it's all fine and good to like mind your business, but don't let somebody fuck you up if you can
Hmm.
prevent it. And then if you don't prevent it, you're gonna get fucked up.
Hmm.
That's up to you. That's your responsibility to protect yourself and your people. You know what I mean? And I think I might have lost the question, but yeah, I think
No,
I'm
no, no,
going in the
no.
right
No,
direction.
no, no, no. You answered it because that it's your responsibility to protect your people, and if that
Yeah,
means acting, then that means acting. And if you're gonna
right.
sit back and just let everything unfold and do nothing about it, you could be just as bad, as much to blame as everything else.
And why wouldn't you act? Like that would be
Mm.
my next thing.
Well,
Like what
again,
what would cause
some
that?
witches wouldn't want to,
Oh
they would
yeah,
say
I
leave it in
guess.
God's
Yeah.
hands, let karma take care of it. Again, what you send out comes back to you, not having the shared same belief as we do. You know what I mean? So
See,
there's
my
that.
justification system would be like, okay, well, I don't, you know what? Maybe I'm just a person of action because I could never imagine just being like,
Yeah.
oh, sorry, can't do nothing about it. Although
Right. No. Yeah. I'm with
you
you.
can.
That to me, and that again, everyone has their limits in magic. To me, and in my life, whether it's by magic or not, if you come at me, I'm coming at you harder because it's
Yeah,
all to me. It's about survival, and I'm gonna put down a threat if I need to,
yeah.
in any fashion that requires. Okay, so to me, let me ask you, Is mortality in witchcraft universal or personal?
What do you mean,
So,
mortality?
like, okay, like, do you think like there's like an ancient rule of like, don't send out harm, you know?
Mm-mm, mm-mm,
Like, do you think
mm-mm.
like again the morality is universal that most witches, if not all witches, should adhere to this way of thinking versus it's personal, individual?
It's personal, individual,
Mhm. I agree with you.
because I'm gonna go back to Cain and Abel, bro. The first four people on Earth. Come on now,
I love this.
like I just, and I don't know why the Bible keeps coming up today, but like,
No, I
if
like it
okay,
because a lot of people who argue the using because a lot of people believe that witchcraft in general alone is using harmful energies to inflict harm and destruction on others, and that's not the case, and a lot of people who make that
what?
argument do come from the
The
Christian world.
Christian community, yeah,
Yeah,
which is crazy. As much death and destruction
and again,
is in
cursing
that
fig trees
book,
out here, that's crazy.
right? Jesus was petty for that. So
This
there we
is petty
go.
petty all the way.
Right. Like, come on
But
now.
hey,
That
okay,
was God. I don't
all
like
right.
what you're doing. Fuck all
So
y'all.
now,
You know?
what advice um okay, so what advice? Actually, you know what? I'm gonna ask you this one. I'll save that one for last. Do
Okay.
you believe that there are certain magics that should never be practiced?
Ooh.
Yeah, I come out with the good one, ready. I like it loaded.
I think again an individual decision, because that goes back to the individual's morals, I
Right,
would say,
and limitations.
and
Because again,
limitations,
to
cuz like,
me, there's like okay, want to get a little conspiracy.
oh, oh,
There's
oh,
like the Illuminati, and what they're doing could be referred to as witchcraft and certain types of spell work, and
100%.
whatever.
That's
100%.
not a conspiracy. That's a
Right.
fucking fact.
And those are certain magics I myself would never perform.
Well, how do you
That's-
know what they're performing? What do you
Well, like,
what do
okay, if
you
you're
know?
like, okay, well, I'm talking like I mean, if they're out here sacrificing mermaids or children, you
Oh,
know.
that Illuminati. Oh,
Yeah,
that
but what
Illuminati.
other
Okay.
Illuminati
Oh,
you know the good
look.
Illuminati?
No, 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 no. Well, that is such a new episode to discuss. But I thought, I didn't know you meant Epstein's Illuminati. I thought you
Well, I
just meant
mean,
the Illuminati.
well, I
You
mean
know.
the Epstein's, the mermaid people, the freaking the I don't know, the people using severed bodies and like the
Well,
drinking baby blood or whatever the fuck. You know what I mean? Again, this is
yeah.
all hypothetical. This is all
I
conspiracy talk now.
hearsay. Yes, yes, yes.
But
This is not
just
real.
show
Mm.
example of limitations and certain magics that shouldn't be performed. Again, that depends on your own moral and ethics because they say Rihanna and Beyonce is out here drinking baby blood.
One of
I'm
them
not
I
gonna do
would
that.
believe. One of them
I
I
don't.
would believe.
I mean,
Bitch.
look,
You know Aaliyah's not here because of Beyonce. Let's just go ahead and put
look.
that on blast.
I
Anyway.
don't know anything about what's going on in the famous world because I am not famous. With that
Yes, we are.
said,
Hmm.
huh? Well, I mean, we are,
It's,
but
it's toss sauce.
we're not. We're not like that. We're
No.
not in the sense where people are contacting us like, "Hey, humiliate yourself and we'll let you win." You know what I mean?
Right.
We're not
No,
that
we're not.
famous.
They can't sit with us. um I feel like, okay, well, being realistic, back to the actual point. There are things in your practice that I don't do. There are things in my practice that you don't do.
What are things
Like
in my practice you don't do?
well, we're not going to discuss that right now.
Okay,
But like
I don't know,
I th-
Jack.
I think it depends solely on the witch in question, or the witches in question, or whatever,
Yeah,
on if it, and like, be a try ho. Like, try something once. If you don't like it, don't do it again. You know what I
yeah.
mean?
Except with
Like,
heroin.
except with a lot of things. Let's just keep it to magic. But yeah, just don't be that kind of try ho. Don't be a try hard ho. All right. But like, when it comes to magic, you don't know you like something till you figure it out and do it. You know what I
Right.
mean?
Right.
So I would just say keep your moral compass pointed in a direction you're comfortable with, and you should be okay.
All right. Well, that kind of answers a little bit of the last question I have for you.
Okay.
What advice would you give to a newcomer who is struggling with these questions and in this world?
In the witch world or the dark
Yeah.
world or the
In the
white
well, in
world?
the witch world, coming into the the entire, because when again, like thinking back to a newcomer who's coming into the world that hears white magic, witches, darkness,
Which to
baneful,
decide.
evil, all these things, the left hand path, the right hand path, all these things, all these terms. Someone who is struggling in their own morale and comfortability, what advice would you give to them?
Mm, Probably exactly what I just said. Try it. See how you feel.
Mhm.
Because there are some people, and we both know people in other paths than us that dive deeply into animal sacrifice and ritualistic stuff that general population would probably panic about.
Right, right,
If you try it and you don't like it, don't do it again. It's not for you. At
right.
least at this point in your life. But if you don't try it, then you really can't have an outward, not opinion, but like you can't make judgments on somebody else's path on things you don't experience.
Hmm.
So like if somebody came to me asking me about white magics or whatever, and they only want to do good in the world, and I'd be like, that's great for you. I'm probably not the best person to talk to.
Right.
And I would be honest. I would just be like, here's my experience. This is my impression. This is my whatever. And you make your own judgment.
See, I agree with you. My advice to a newcomer would be whatever you're interested in, whatever draws you, go that route. Don't let fear stop you. Don't let other people's opinions and perspectives stop you. Do your own
Hmm.
research, meditate on your own personal conflicts, and again, go with where you're drawn to. Because for me, in the beginning of my practice, because of the information I was under, along with certain experiences I might add with witchcraft and how I came into the witch world. Um, but the first day me as a witch, I sworn I would never do. I would never look into the baneful world. I would never use magic to harm another individual, no matter the cost or no matter the reason, and blah blah blah, because of my
Hmm.
thoughts and how I perceived things. Today that is so not the case. In fact, I would go back to that, which because okay, the point of me bringing that up is with how hard I tried to stay away. I always had that interest and my own deep down personal morale, you know what I mean, and
Hmm.
perspective on things. And so even though because what scared me was how real it was, you know what I mean,
Hmm.
and
That
the
confirmation.
darkness, the if you will, the darkness and the harmful energies that are attached to it can be quite scary for a newcomer.
Hmm.
However, for me, there was always that interest. Even when I try to stay so far away, there was always a part of me that just brought me right back. And with my own studying, meditation, research, and experience and trial and error and doing things, I became very skilled in that world and in my practice. So, again, I would look at my younger self and say, don't be afraid. In fact, divulge into it and learn about it as much as you can and figure yourself out. Not someone
Yeah.
else and how they feel about magic because everyone's got their
Right.
own opinion. There's as
Right.
many opinions as there are assholes. So just find
Yeah.
your own.
I like a good pro and con list, a good list of I probably will nevers and things I would like to tries. You know what I
Right.
mean? I'm a good lister. I like lists.
Yeah.
So but you know what? The younger me that got, that was the whole point. The
Hmm.
darker. I didn't give a crap about love and light. Show me the dark stuff.
Hmm. See,
I want to see it.
when I first started, I didn't even think light or dark.
Mm-hmm.
But darkness, because not knowing what I'm doing, showed its face. and
Mhm.
immediately frightened me and made me try to stay clear. But again, that only lasted for as long as it lasted me staying out of witchcraft entirely. So let's be real.
Mhm. Well, and a lot of people, and this is kind of on topic, off topic. It's like a side topic of just witchcraft in general. It's like it's like a drug, kind of. You can get
Mhm,
addicted to doing things just when you start
mhm.
seeing your results happen in real time. And that is a caution that I would tell anybody is like, get your shit in check because it will take over. It can take over. It can be
Power,
very, yeah,
power, and magic is very addictive, and there's
it
something
is.
about the more baneful forces that seem to be even more addicting. And I think that
Why do you think that is? I have a weird theory, but or I kind of might have a theory.
to me, I think humans naturally have this
Never mind. You're telling the theory already, so go for
naturally
it.
have this urge to either control, manipulate, or get back. And
Yeah.
again, I think it's up to you to have that, again, accountability, responsibility, and higher morale to understand, again, where is it okay to get back? Because we
Mhm.
all love that feeling and it's great. And that's where people will put it into overdrive. And that's when, again, they get into trouble or they get
Mhm.
addicted and shit does perish. If you read certain Wicca books, they will literally start off saying dark magic will consume you. And
Yeah.
it's, I've read that dark magic will kill you, and I believe it to be true if it's handled very poorly and wrong.
Mhm.
And so, and again, with that being very addictive, again, people, because people have this deep rooted anger that comes even before birth, that comes from our ancestors, from all the wrongdoings. So I think there's something in us that love the justice system. You know what I
Mhm.
mean? Especially when we take things into our control, and it's
Mm.
very dangerous. I think that's why magic itself is very addictive and very dangerous because you are now in control, and not everybody
Yeah.
needs to be in control. And
No.
you don't need, and even those who are good at leadership and control, that doesn't mean you need to be like that all the time. So
Yeah.
it's very tricky. And again, it's not for everyone. And with that, baneful magics and justified workings that bring harm are not for everyone. And that is okay.
Yeah, I think it's good to know your limits with everything,
Yeah.
including
Know
this.
your person. Again, know thyself and what you are comfortable with and morally
Mhm.
okay with. And I think, we're all grown up to know when we're doing something wrong.
Yeah.
So don't let ego or the need to win push you past your own limits because that just describes you as who you are as a person. And that's something you
Yeah.
have to go to bed at night with.
Yeah, and that is the real thing right there. You got to be okay coming home to you at the end of the day with the decisions and the magics that you casted, because you're going to be the one to pay the price, or it's going to happen in a very horrible way. It's going to be you plus plus plus.
Right.
Uh, Moral of the story is think your shit through. Make sure it's
Right.
actually justified, and never call and ask an Aries if that shit's justified because they're going to say yes.
That
Fuck them
was
up.
pure advice. That was wisdom from the gods. I don't know who possessed you, but thank you for saying that.
Yeah,
Because
never
do
call an
not
Aries.
call an Aries. They will just
Because
piss you off. And they'll
we
make
will
you more
piss you
mad.
off and hype you up to
Yep,
do
they'll
the
make you more
worst
mad.
shit.
Right, than you were to begin with. So don't do that. Don't do that.
Yeah. Oh, you thought you
Yeah.
were mad? Let's fuck Jessica. Oh,
Hmm.
she looked at you wrong in 12th grade. Fuck her
Right.
up.
You've been known this. Yep. All right. Well, on that note, guys, I hope you enjoyed. Find the live footage of this on YouTube. We are going to try to figure out how we can, if possible, get links for Spotify to find us on YouTube. If not, it's the same live from the cauldron. So find us on YouTube. You can see the visual from this, and we will see you guys in the next one.
Toodaloo. Carry on.
Bye.
Bye.